I hit record. It says no. It says no.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Episode 3 of This Guy, That Guy Nation, huh?
Absolutely. Hey, if you like it, we'd like you to subscribe. Hit the like button. Make some comments too, suggestions. We got some suggestions on episode 2, and someone would like to know more about some holidays. You know, they were saying.
Oh, yes, some holidays.
Best holidays.
Yes, but let's talk about baseball, though, where the whole purpose of this podcast is baseball.
Okay. Baseball, so, I like it.
Yes, we had a baseball weekend. Well, at least one good day of baseball, 2 games.
Yeah, we had a rain out Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday it rained, but Sunday we got some games in, and we headed up north of Fort Worth, and
we did.
It was a nice venue.
Yeah,
nice venue.
Short porch.
Yeah, big time.
But the kids enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We had one real big standout. I got a unique story from that because the dad approached me. Ben hit his first home run over the fence with the Falcons.
Okay.
And he also hit another home run as well over the fence. After the first home run, the dad walks up to me and says, "You're not going to believe this. 5 years to this date, my older son hit his first home run."
Oh my!
So very nice,
that is
very awesome. That it was actually 5 years to the exact day. And he said, "It's a very athletic family."
Very.
But it's nice to see him, and
he was
very happy for him.
He's a humble young man.
He is.
I mean, he took care of business. He came back to the dugout. He was very happy, obviously.
Yeah.
Carried himself well. Went back out there, did it again.
He did. Great.
Yeah.
Great family. I hope to be able to talk to that dad someday on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
The dad had a nice college career as well, and his son's kind of like following in his footsteps of athletics.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing, he's playing football. He's track and field.
Yeah, he's throwing that doohickey in the air. I don't know what it's called, but yes.
He's got the shot put, and he's just he's an all around good athlete. I mean, you see those guys. You gotta remember, we were watching those guys when they were little kids.
It's correct.
And Ben's he's a tall guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tall young man.
He is.
And I got to look up at him, and I'm 6'1". So, it was a great time, good experience, great teams.
Right.
No one took any real estate in front of us, which was awesome.
That was nice. Let us have our
Yeah.
We had
no squatters.
The dad squad was right there behind home plate.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. There was just a lot of things that stood out in that game. They were both evenly matched.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
This was their official first game playing,
Yeah.
so it was nice for them to see them get out and really compete in a game.
Absolutely.
Not knowing that it's a real game, and
Yeah.
it's not, hey, we're just practicing and we're playing.
Yeah.
This is a real game.
Yeah.
They played okay defense. And I still put them in the okay category for hitting. Watched too many strike threes.
Yeah.
I watched too many first pitch, second pitch, and going 0-2 in a hole on that. Watching those first 2. The pitcher don't get me wrong, the pitcher had a great curveball.
Oh, yeah.
And personally, I'm not a big fan of 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds throwing curveballs, but this young man had a great one.
It was a sweeper.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
So it got him. If you go 0-2 and you're not recognizing the count and knowing what's coming next, you're gonna strike out. I hate to say it.
And I don't think that they've seen a lot of pitches like that.
Correct.
So I mean, have a little grace that they haven't seen pitches like that. I think it was the only pitch that the young man had that he was throwing, but he got him.
He got him.
He recognized right away that they were never going to catch it. So especially after the first outing, first inning, they're up there, and they took advantage right away. The Falcons did right away,
Yes.
and coming back in the top of the first, the other team came back and did the same thing. That young man, he drove a home run.
Yes, he did.
Boom. So
And I will tell you that I told this guy 2 months ago to expect that.
okay,
That coming into this season, you better expect to see a few kids
yeah,
that will have that in their arsenal.
oh yeah,
And if you're not ready for it, it's going to throw you off.
Yeah.
And you can't. We can go to the batting cages, and I think that machine throws a curveball at the batting cages.
but
and your coaches can't throw you that curveball.
No.
And if you're not gearing up mentally for that, you're gonna struggle with the pitch.
yeah. So, do you think the wind had any factor this weekend up there? Because it was pretty windy.
I don't know. I don't think it played a factor at all. That's because no one really took advantage of it. That wind was blowing out to right field,
Okay.
and I hate to say it, the 2 home runs that we hit on our team were hit to left field.
Yeah.
So he was hitting into the wind,
Okay.
if anything. So no, I don't
Yeah,
think the
you don't
wind
think
played
the
a
wind-
factor.
okay.
I saw a couple of plays where you had infield flies that the wind maybe affected it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it affected the outcome or anything. We split the games. We won the first game. They won the
Yeah.
second game. They won the second game a little more decisively than we won the first game.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened there. Like I said, different pitchers and everything.
Yeah, I think they.
I would have liked to have seen the scores be a little closer.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. In that game, in those games, I don't want to say I don't mind the loss if they're close.
Yeah.
But if they're lopsided, I do mind them. I don't know what happened.
Well, it was. It's just like it was like two different teams.
Yeah.
Two different games.
It's going to be. It was definitely a learning experience, and I hope
Yeah.
they can learn from it and develop. I had another conversation with a dad, and we talked about what these games mean to us, and these games mean to us is development,
Yeah.
and that's all I care about.
You're looking at getting them to high school level.
That's correct.
That's where you're going with this.
It's just it's total development. Are we developing? Are we learning? And are we getting better each week at whatever we did bad the previous week?
Yeah.
And if we're doing that, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I've said this a million times. I'll say it again to you. There's no scouts in the
No.
stands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're not watching. They're not coming here. The Rangers and the Padres aren't going to sign anybody.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah. I think that as a group of kids, they came out and they played hard. I think their pitching was outstanding. I think that they got some new guys in there to pitch that hadn't pitched a lot,
Correct?
which was nice to see. Go a little deep in the pitchers, and they were swinging the bats well. I thought they looked good out there. They looked confident.
Except for their strikeouts. I'm not going to leave that alone and let it
Yeah.
go and let them say that they did good on that because way too many strikeouts. We saw too many guys watch 3 pitches and 3 strikes. And
Yeah. Is that common? Is that a common thing at this age that they are they just thinking too hard, or there's that guy. There's your guy again.
Yes.
What's with the guy with no shirt on mowing the lawn?
Right, no doubt.
What the hell
One more
is
time.
going on here?
No, I don't think it's common. Maybe it's a lack of preparation on their part, not on the coach's part, on their part. They have an obligation to
Yeah.
put into this too.
Okay.
And I will always say that. I mean, the coach will coach you a couple hours during the week,
Yeah.
and it's your job to play or practice outside that and get ready to play for your weekend games.
So they need to do their homework as well. Is
Absolutely.
what you're saying.
Absolutely, and I think I I will send a message out to a few kids that I have on Instagram, and I send them a message. And that message is always, if your screen time is more than your practice time, you know who to blame.
Well, yeah, I agree, because it's just like in life. I mean, it just goes in life. I mean, if you're not prepared, who's to say? I mean, it could be your job, it could be school. It's the same thing. So that's the wonderful thing about baseball.
It is.
It all leads to the same path. It leads you to, being a good steward of your time,
Correct.
understanding what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and learning from your mistakes.
That's it.
Because that game is a game of mistakes.
It,
You know.
the only sport when you can fail and be the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very, very true.
All right, we can move on. I mean, we had some fun conversations, though,
my
at the
gosh,
game.
yeah.
And it started off
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We were all cold, right? We all came bundled up.
Yeah. It was.
I don't know
you
what
know.
the temp was. It was probably in the low 50s.
Yeah. I mean, for Texas,
Sure.
it was like this morning. It was 34.
Yeah. You had a big jacket on.
Yeah.
You came prepared, but you.
I did.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought, well, I need to. If we're going to sit there for a couple hours, we better be prepared. For
5
it.
hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And and we had a hell of a storm that blew in again.
Yep.
So I don't know how it affected the later game. I talked to a few people that were playing the later game, and they got most of it in at that time. But I think they did. That was the second game that they had to play. I think they cut it short. So, but no, I think that the conversations that we always have at the ball field are great. There are all kinds of new people to meet. And it's really ironic when you say that, because the last several outings that we've had together, I've met people from South Dakota.
Yes.
I mean, of all places, you
Right.
know. We were at Thirsty Thursday. There's a guy there that just was, he did a lot of hunting in South Dakota. We visited about that. And then we met one of the players' grandfathers. He grew up in South Dakota, and not far from where my mom was from. So it's interesting to kind of talk to him, and they look at you like you're just absolute alien when you start talking about little cities and little villages that are in South Dakota.
Well, when the population, let's say
Yeah.
a few thousand,
Yeah,
and you
or
actually
maybe 12.
Okay.
So it's bizarre, because the look on their face is it's absolutely incredible. You know where that town is, or you know where that town is, or you fished on the Missouri River. I said, absolutely, best walleye fishing in the world there. So, and he's so excited that he's got to go get his wife, and he's got to tell her all about. There's this guy over here. He knows all about South Dakota.
Right.
So it's a small world.
It is.
And he's been in Texas for 20 years.
And so are you.
Yeah. I've been here for 20 years. So, and it's just but you meet all kinds of people at these games. That's what's so incredible.
That is.
And there were so many people that you meet at these games that are from all over, and some have never played baseball as parents, and they're out there, not knowing that much about the game, and they're getting to know the game as well, and they're asking questions. That's the thing that I found this weekend, that there were quite a few parents that this is their kid's first real opportunity to be on a team, on the opposing team. They were saying the same thing, because you go over and talk to them, they're saying, yeah, my son, he's never played at this level before, and so it's kind of neat to see all the different people that are there, and their all goal is the same, as they want their kid to win. And that's the thing that I find interesting with baseball, and really with any sport. I mean, you could talk about March Madness. I mean, we're there talking about, we're talking basketball we're sitting there as just visiting in between innings and things like that. We're talking about March Madness. We're talking about football. We're talking to parents that have played high school football. We're talking to parents that played college football. So I mean, it brings out a lot of good things as far as anything with sports. That's the thing I like about going to these games and just the camaraderie that we have.
Yes.
With everybody and the excitement,
Right.
just the pure excitement. So I see you got a new bike.
I do got a new bike.
What's with this?
Well, my other bike, the kids broke it.
Oh,
You remember my little buggy, how we
Yeah,
met?
yeah. Oh God,
they
yeah,
broke it.
yeah.
And whenever we go glamping,
Okay.
I'm a little lazy. And so I'd rather not walk to the restrooms.
Okay.
I'd rather ride.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get it.
But I don't want to ride a bike.
Oh, that's an electric bike.
That's an electric bike, yeah. So it just
So that's a
carries
new
me.
addition to your stuff here.
Yeah, it's
Wow. All right.
yeah. I've been looking at it for a while.
Uh-huh.
I gotta try it out.
Is that a girl's bike?
No, that's a boy's bike. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you're saying it's a girl's bike because of the color. That's the only reason why you're saying that. Because
Well, it's Robin Egg blue.
If it was black, you would not be saying.
Well, I'm telling you that is.
Well, it's white and robin egg blue.
Yeah, that's got Robin Egg blue on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Are you going to dispute that?
No, I'm not. Not anymore. You've got enough street cred now.
Oh,
that the eggs are that the bird shits out robin egg blue.
Well, that's
Eggs. But let's go back to the bike. I don't want to get on that subject again.
okay.
But funny you say, I bought that color because that is the color of our travel trailer, the exact
okay.
color, including the robin egg blue.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, I'll just be
All
a
right.
little matchy. Yeah, that might be.
Well, you are into fashion.
Well,
I like that,
It'd be
yeah.
pretty cool. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Dang.
So
So how fast will that go?
it says 28 miles an hour.
Have you been on it yet?
I rode on a block once.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a unique bike, and I didn't expect it, but it seems like the electric power won't work unless you're fundamentally moving the pedals. You don't have to use them with force, but your feet have to be moving.
Okay.
Like it forces you to think you're riding a bike.
Okay.
And then I could be going like this, but I'm going 20 miles an hour.
Oh, really?
But if I let go, then no
It
electric
slows
power.
down.
Then it's like you need the pedal, sir.
all right.
So I don't know if it's forcing me to exercise. And I did not see that in the comments.
Oh, so that wasn't in the brochure.
that
That
was
you were
not-
actually going to have to do something.
that was not in the brochure. And I watched a lot of videos before I made the purchase.
Okay.
But you can see, look, I get to have a little cooler on the butt.
I see that
of
you
it.
have. Yeah, you've got an area that you're able to store stuff. You have lights on it too.
Yeah, oh yeah. It
Oh,
comes with
there's a light.
everything,
Yeah, you got lights on there and everything.
Very interesting.
Dang. So, look at you. So, where are you all going camping? Where are you going?
Well,
this
you know,
next?
my wife, speaking of that, my wife just booked. I showed her a spot on a place called Cedar Lake.
Cedar Creek Lake?
Cedar Creek Lake.
Oh, no way.
I showed it to her a couple weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and I said, hey, you know what? When you are scheduling all of our things, let's
Yeah.
try this one. And it's a good couple of stones throws away from the lake.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I know the.
So
is it in?
that is booked on our calendars, and I was going to share that with you later on.
right, yeah.
Share that with our buddy that's out there.
Yeah.
And,
Chair Force.
Yeah. So I was going to share that with him
Yeah,
as well.
He'll get a
And-
kick out of that because we were doing the dad thing and doing the baseball thing and all that this last weekend, and of course he was fishing. So he's sending pictures of his fish that he was catching while we were sitting around watching baseball, and the catfish, incredible. The yellow cats are in, which are beautiful fish. They taste awesome. And then the stripers. I mean, he just went to town. So and from here on out, for the rest of the summer, it'll just be the best fishing. I mean, the crappie fishing will be fantastic, and that I know that you'll get a kick out of that lake. It's a beautiful lake. It reminds me of all of the lakes in Texas that we've been on. There's not very many of them that are dockable.
Correct.
So, where you can actually have a house that's on the water and comes down and has a dock, and you can put a boathouse. I mean, you can build pretty much a whole house right on the water there. So it's pretty rare. So when my wife and I were out, we were kind of just looking for places to go, and that we found this Cedar Creek Lake, and it reminded us of a lake that we would have been on in Michigan. It's just a beautiful lake, and and it's big. It's a long lake, and it's deep, and you can take a pontoon boat and you can kind of just go slow, and you can meet all your neighbors, and it's one of those lakes where there are people live on it full time, and then there's a lot of people that are out there for the weekend.
Just part-timers?
Yeah, and they're out there just having a good time, and there's a lot of you can go tour fishing, get a guide, and you can go out and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. You're going to take the boat. You have a pontoon boat. You're taking the pontoon boat.
Well, I mean, you'll be there, so I'll make sure we schedule that, because I figured what we can do is we can go out there and fish for the day, come back. I'll make sure I bring the deep fryer.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll go back to the trailer, and then we'll deep fry our catches.
That'll be great, because
I know
nice little. That'll be right up John's alley. He will get the biggest kick out of that.
You're the fillet expert, so you can sit there and fillet these things. And someone will make a batter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I got a story about me filleting fish.
Okay.
So you got a second? Because
sure.
we'll talk
please.
about it.
As long as you don't end up, the story doesn't end up with you filleting your finger.
No,
I don't need you sharing a story that you lost your digit.
No, it's, I'm left-handed.
Yes.
Did you know that I was left-handed?
And they say all serial killers are left-handed as well, just so you know. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, well, being left-handed and filleting fish, it's an art.
Oh, it's an art.
Yeah, it's an art. And a little background on this is that the guy that I go fishing with, he's a surgeon.
Yeah.
So, and I'm no.
Is he left-handed too?
No, he's right-handed.
He's normal.
Yeah, he is, and he reminds me every opportunity that when I'm cutting the fish up that I butcher it, because I'm good going in one direction. It's when I flip the fish and start going in the opposite direction, and I can't use my right hand, and the fillet just looks like somebody has just butchered it.
Well, I don't think right-handers have that problem. They got to flip it too.
Well, yeah, but with the left-handed guy, it just doesn't work.
Gotcha.
And he gives me a lot of grace, but he gives me a lot of grief too, because it's like, this is Joe's fillet, I can tell, and this is Joe's fillet. Oh, yep, that's the one that he did.
I actually respect him more now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure
I already loved
do.
him, and now I respect him more.
Yeah,
that he's giving me a little grief.
Yeah, because he puts me in my place.
There you go.
Yeah, I totally understand it. But and when we're cutting up, when we're cleaning fish, it's amazing. How quickly he can do that. He can just make it look, like it's absolutely nothing.
Gotcha.
And the knife just cuts through it like butter.
Right.
And I'm over there sawing away, and I'm hacking away, and I'm carving away, and it's just a shit show.
Okay.
and I desperately try to cover it up.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, hey, John, I'll go down and let me check the poles, because we'll fish off the dock too.
Yes.
And I'll go, hey, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it up. Yeah, got one. And then I'll come up there with my fillets, and I've already got them in a bag, and I'll rinse them off, and we go right to the refrigerator. And he's like, oh, how big was it? Oh, it was big fish. that fillet on the one fillet, beautiful. Beautiful fillet on the left side. You flip it over on that right side, and I butcher it. And he says, oh, yeah, same thing. You have no concept of your left or right hand when you're cutting. And I can't do, he makes it look so easy. Mm-hmm. And then he reminds me that's what he does for a living, so that he has to do it that way because he works with his hands. And
So you can't go to the other side of the table?
no, because the way it is on the dock, the dock is, you're standing on the dock, and the sink and cleaning station is on the inside, not the outside where the water, on the water side. So you can't go to the left or the right because the sink is on the left side. Mm-hmm. So, and then you've got this cutting area, and it's not very large, and the fish is flopping all over, and I'm trying to cut, and then you got to flip it over, and it just turns into a shit show.
Okay.
So he's a designated cleaner. I'll catch him, and I'll we'll definitely have a fish fry.
Sure.
And we've done all kinds of things to make the fish fry, be the greatest thing ever. And usually when we get the fish fry going, all the neighbors start coming out.
Correct.
Oh yeah, they're like, hey, check that out. What's going on over there? And and John's an entertainer. He's got he goes to gets fish to the neighbors, and they got to get fish for this neighbor and stuff like that. So. Yeah.
Well, me personally, I would say the fish fry will go great as long as the company's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The company's good, the fish will be good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely no question with that. It's just an exciting time when you're out there doing that. I had a buddy that he went up to Lake Texoma over the weekend as well, and he did a guided tour up there. We had talked about doing that for striper, and this guy did a half day, and it was 32 stripers in less than 3.5 hours, and comes back.
What was the price of the guided tour?
It was $165
Per person
for half the day.
For half the day.
But they all limited out.
Gotcha.
They were out, done, came back, the guide cleaned it, and they were done. And I don't know if you've ever done a guided tour. You've done guided tours on the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
that's different, but yes.
Yeah. So we did a guided tour on Cedar Creek Lake because we were trying to figure out the spots.
Gotcha.
Because we didn't know the spots.
Correct.
So we decided we'll pay somebody and he can take us to the spots. Mm-hmm. So this young guy took us out, and it is absolutely the coldest and roughest day that you could go out on the lake, and this guy shows up, and you got to get off the dock onto his boat. And when he says to you, I don't know if you're going to be able to get on the boat, and he's yelling this at us in the dark because we went out in the morning, and I'm like, oh God, and it's a center consult.
Okay.
Okay. And there's no rails.
Gotcha.
And there's white caps.
Gotcha.
And it's rough. And so,
but it is a lake, so
oh, totally.
Let's not get it twisted. This is still a lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was rough. So we get on this thing, and he says, "I'm going to the other side of the lake. It'll be more calm, but we got to get from here to there." And he says, "No matter how I do this, it's going to be rough. So you either sit in front, you're going to get wet. You stand behind me and hang on, you're going to get wet." So we took off.
Thanks for the options.
Yeah, and we took off, and we got wet, and it was cold. And we get out there, and he's got a sonar. So we get set up, and we're going to crappie fish. So we pull into this little bay, and he's getting all set up, and he gets up, and he goes to the front of the boat, and he drops down this sonar, and he's got this cooler, and he's got this screen that he's looking at, and he's over there flipping this arm on the sonar, and he says, "Okay, I got him." He says, "All three of you come up here." We're like, "Excuse me?" He says, come up right up front." So we come up front right next to him. He says, "All right, I'm going to tell you." One guy drops down, and he says, "I'm going to tell you when to stop." So he says, and he says, "You say, line out." So you click the button, You say line out, and it's going down. He says stop. You stop right there. He says then the next guy. He says you stand right next to him, and the lines are only maybe 4 or 5 inches away from each other. He says drop it down. I'll tell you when to stop. He says stop. He says next guy say line out, and he put it down there, and he says stop. He says all right, first guy, you got a fish coming. He says get ready, get ready, get ready. Fish on. And he's watching all of this on this monitor. Now he's got a guide. He's a guide, so he gets paid if you got to catch fish.
He's getting paid regardless, but his reputation doesn't get paid.
Yeah. So in mind you, he's on the phone with all his buddies, and they've got all these spots all over the lake. So if nothing's happening here, you go to the next spot, and then all of his buddies, they kind of take turns. So it was interesting. I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen that type of setup before, and we had the opportunity to see it and experience it, and it was the strangest thing ever. He says, all right, get fish on, fish on, fish on. And then one of the guys that we were with, he wasn't catching any, and he's like, well, what am I doing wrong? And the guide, he kind of felt bad because he kind of offered up. He said, hey, he says, maybe if you try this. And the guy, he's like, man, I've fished my whole life. I've ice fished, I've deep sea fished, I've done all this, I know how to fish. But he says, but you're not catching any fish. You know how to fish, but you don't know how to catch them.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem I see. You and John were not fishing. You were catching because you were cheating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that poor gentleman was fishing.
Well, it's
called fishing for a reason.
Yeah, and it got so bad. It got so bad for him that he wasn't catching anything. So he says, it's the position. I says, okay, so mind you, we're like
nuts and bolts.
Yeah. And I said, well, you go ahead and stand where I'm at. So he comes over and stands where I'm at, and I catch where he's at. And I said, well, it's definitely not the spot. Son of a bitch. I said, well, so he says, that was enough of that. He said, the guide says when the sun gets up where it's on your face and it's warm on your face, he says, we'll go striper fishing.
That was catfish?
No, this was crappie fishing.
Oh, crappie fishing.
So I said, all right, so we're going to go out and we're going to troll. And we're going to go catch these stripers. And I said, okay. So now, mind you, it's rough.
Yeah. I thought it was not going to be rough.
Oh, hell no.
On the other side, he said.
Oh, no. This was in a bay to go crappie fishing, but when you're going to get out there and go trolling for these stripers, it's rough.
Okay.
So, and you stand on the back of the boat.
Yeah.
So we're all three of us are on the back of the boat. So one on the left, right, and then one's right over the motor. Okay. And you let the line out, and then he goes out, and he has some locations out there that he's looking at. And it's about how the contour of the bottom of the lake is, and it comes up on these these points and these there's valleys and hills and valleys and all that in there. So he's going through there and he knows right where these fish are because he does it. He's there 7 days a week, so he already knows. So we're out there and he says, "All right, guy on the left." He says, "Let your line out. Count to 8." So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you stop. Guy on the right left side, he says you count to 9, and the guy in the back, he says you count to 10 because you want it a little bit further out.
Sure.
So we're out there and we're trolling along, and it's just going all over the place. And I mean, you're hanging on with one hand and you're hanging on to the pole with the other, and it's dragging because he's scooting along. And he says you just yell fish on. And when you have fish on, you reel it in and you just kind of flick back to him, and he's going to take it off, and then you just send it back out. And so you're just going to go down this run. It might be a mile, it might be a mile and a half, and you start heading down there. Well, we're going back and forth, and it's fish on, and John, fish on, and the poor guy, in the middle.
The poor sap in him.
Yeah, the guy
Still
that's
nothing.
fishing. There's nothing. And we're laughing at that point. And then we're giving him hints, like, hey, maybe if you stood on one foot.
Listen, that's making it worse.
It's like when we all get together. There's always that one guy.
Sure.
I was that guy. Just recently I was that guy. So it was kind of like that. So John and I, we were just laughing the whole time. And finally it was like, well, he says, I think it's the rod. I said, oh, okay. So you take mine and you come over where I'm at. So we make another run around. Well, fish on. And he's like, I can't believe this. I said, it's not the rod. It's not the reel. It's not the lure. It's not the spot. It's got to be the guy. Yeah.
Did you ask him? He went to church the week before?
Well, we did. We went to church that night.
That's it. I'm saying, did he go to church?
No,
That's part of the question. Did that guy go to church?
No, I mean, we just all
Jeez
hung out. We
Louise.
were all hanging out. We had a few drinks. We had some camaraderie. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. You know, we were just having fun. It was a spiritual moment. You know, obviously he didn't get as spiritual as I did.
Obviously not.
Well, so this goes on for a while, and then he kind of he caught a few, and then things were
thank
okay.
God.
But then by then it was all over. So he takes us back to the
Your dock.
to the cottage, and he says, "All right," he says, "it's too rough for me to stay here and clean fish." So he says, "Can you come to my place?" And it's on the other side of the lake. And it's, yeah. He said, we can drop you off. So we get off the boat, and we go in and warm up, and then we get in the car and we head over to his house. So, and it's maybe 2 miles around to get to where he's at. Well, by the time we got there, he's halfway through cleaning.
Wow.
And he's got this electric knife.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah, and he's just carving up. And I said, God, I can do that. And I'm watching him. I said,
A serrated electric knife?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it
This
a
is-
smooth edge?
it was a Makita. It was actually a Makita knife it was battery operated, and it's for filleting fish.
You mean Makita, like the drill company?
Uh-huh, yeah.
The ones you go to Home Depot?
Absolutely.
Did you buy?
Yep. I kid you not. And I said, well, let me see that. So I look at
Come
it.
on.
As serious as a heart attack, yeah.
You didn't just paint it turquoise?
No,
And write with a Sharpie?
it said Makita
And it's for filleting fish.
for filleting fish.
Oh, my goodness.
And so he's just going to town. So I said, let me see that. This is what I need, because I'm left-handed.
Okay, do you own it yet?
So I went and I purchased one.
You bought this Makita
Uh-huh.
fillet knife, battery operated, to fillet fish.
Yeah.
Well, I got to see this. You haven't shared it with me?
Well, it doesn't work worth a shit. Okay.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, totally. I kid you not. I get this knife. I'm so impressed with it. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna teach you, John. I'm gonna teach you that I can do this. So I get the knife, and we were out there like a few weeks later, and I show up. I've got this knife in this red case, and I get it out, and it's all kinds of different blades. I mean, you can fillet, a whale. I mean, some of the knives, some of the blades in this thing are it's incredible. So I'm like, I'm all ready. So I get out there, and I got the smallest blade, and it just turns into a shit show again. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You got to let the knife do the work.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how I operate. I'm
Oh, you were trying to
forcing-
help it.
Oh, hell, I'm
Well, it's
forcing-
already electric. Isn't it already cutting for you because electric?
Yeah. Yeah, but I haven't
But
figured
you're
that
trying
out.
to force it.
Oh
through
yeah, I
it.
totally did. Yeah, and it just turned into a shit show. And it was actually I do better just with a regular flaying knife than I do. And that's a lot to be said. So the electric knife was a real shit show, and then we have me cutting with just the fillet knife, and it's just faster to. I just said to John, it's just faster if you just do it, and it's a lot better. We have a lot more meat when you do it, and I can practice. I'm just a practicer.
Sure.
I'll get some, and I'll do the catfish, and I just practice with that. But,
So, how much did Makita shake you down for?
it wasn't that much. I think it was like $80 or
Okay.
something like that. It wasn't that much, and it's a neat knife. It's something cool to have in your. I have it.
But to brag about it, you want to
I got
set it
this.
right here. And,
Yeah, I got this, but you know what?
And some
I
other
can't-
sore sap can buy it and it not work.
Yeah, because I don't know how to use it. Because
Well-
I think I do, but I truly don't know what I'm doing. I mean, that's just the way it is. I can't help it.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
just think I just feel like it's like what did I but I got it. It's just a tool. It's another thing. It's like one of the things you have in your tackle box. You pull out, hey, I got this or I got that. Yeah, or your toolboxes that you have. Hey, I got that.
I'm just not a big fan of buying my fishing gear from Home Cheapo. Okay,
No, I didn't get it off. I got it off of Amazon.
but it's a tool that the tool company.
But what?
That's like going and buying a Craftsman freaking fillet knife.
Well, that's what they make.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, that's
Well, I don't even
it.
think they're in business anymore. I don't see their tools around anymore. So
I don't. Yeah, I
maybe
don't
they
know.
shifted gears.
I mean, not that popular any longer.
No.
I don't know whatever happened to them. But anyways, that's where I saw this, and it was kind of interesting. And of course, John, he's got to take it to the nth degree, and he always humbles me.
Yeah.
He's a humbler.
Yeah.
He makes sure that that I
Good man.
Yeah, he makes sure that
Well,
he's like,
I'm actually torn right now. I don't know if I want to be you that can't fillet it or the guy that can't catch the fish.
well, yeah, maybe you'll be that. But then again, I've gone fishing with you before.
And I have not caught. I experienced the same thing that guy experienced with you. And so far, the common denominator is more.
Yeah, but I got to tell you,
And you did the same thing with that guy. I took your pole and tried your pole. I took your spot.
Yep.
I blamed the fact that I was the driver of the boat. So you started driving and I fished and I still didn't catch anything. And you were still catching while you were driving.
While I was driving.
And you.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is that you have this bait caster that's just incredible. It was so incredible to me that I was telling John about it. And this thing, I swear, I tried everything I could to make that thing backlash.
Oh, yes.
I did everything on that boat that day when we went up to, where were we at?
Broken Bow.
Broken Bow. When we were on that lake, I did, and when you told me this is a bait caster that you can't
Bird's nest.
backlash. You can't backlash it. It will not bird nest. And I said, that's not true. And he looked at me like, well, yeah, yes, it is. And I'm like, I said, you're a liar. He's like, so I swear I did everything I could.
Right.
I did everything I could to make that thing backlash, and I could not. I mean, I am skying that thing out there. I'm skipping it across the water. I did absolutely everything I could to make that thing backlash. And it got to the point where then I'm start taking pictures of it, and we're out fishing. So I'm texting John. I say, hey, look at this bait caster. He's got this bait caster that doesn't backlash. Oh, that's not true. I said, oh yeah, it's got this. What was it? There's a brake on it. Is it a magnet? You have the magnet one?
No, I actually have both. I had the one that has a computer chip.
Yes.
And I have the one that is the Shimano, which they say it's called a honeycomb feature on it.
It's out of centrifugal force that it will slow down.
Sir, I buy the bait caster. I didn't design it, and I don't know what the hell's inside there.
Wow,
I'm not.
was I being a high talker to you?
I don't. I just don't. I don't want to get in a battle of wits and be unarmed.
So you're
okay?
so you're telling me you're a simple guy.
No.
You're just a simple guy that you just went out fishing and you got this really cool bait caster, but you got to remember what I was out there with. I was out there with like a 20-year-old Zebco.
You were
reel, and I think the rod was about the same age, and I was killing it.
Yeah.
And you were just like, I don't understand this.
Yes.
And this was a lake that none of us ever fished on.
You got a $20 Wally World fishing pole, and I have a $300 bait caster and a pole and rod, and I'm not catching, and you're catching, and that goes to show you, it's got to be the person, not the gear.
I don't know. It was.
And let me do full disclosure. I own now those reels.
Yeah.
Because I am not that great at thumbing.
Oh. Okay, so you don't have good dexterity. That's high talker, right?
Maybe when I thumb, I might bird nest a few times when I'm thumbing.
Okay.
I just can't.
So why don't you just get a Zebco?
I have my reels. I don't need any more.
Okay. So you like that? I agree. That's
a
bait caster. I loved it to the point where John I think he went and got 4. Because the next time we showed up there, he's got them. He said, "Hey, I got these." And I said, "Oh, check that out."
They're great.
Yeah. So it takes a minute to get it set up to learn.
You do.
you got to get it all fine tuned.
And you can change the settings on it
Yeah.
so to do different things.
Yeah.
Before I bought it, I did a lot of research and I watched a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Even professional fishers tried to bird nest it by skipping, throwing it at.
Oh, they were pulling a joke.
They were pulling a joke. That's why I was giggling when I knew what you were doing. I'm like, well, have you seen this? I've seen a video on this.
Yeah.
And
You've seen this
and
before.
they couldn't do it.
So you were sold.
Yeah, I'm in because I'm not the best thumber.
Yeah, and that reel is actually the best reel for when you're striper fishing.
Gotcha.
That is because you can let out the exact amount of line that you need.
Yes.
With that reel, and by far that's what I learned with that reel. And crappie fishing is good with the little Zebco. I mean, you can do with any of them.
An open reel.
Yeah, you can do fishing is fishing. I mean, you can have a wooden stick with a line on it. And if you have the capability,
And if you're in the
gonna
right
do it.
spot.
Absolutely, in the right time of the year, and everything all that. And John, he's real big into the moon. It's got to be. It's a full moon, and the wind is coming out of the west, and it's going to be the perfect day, and and he's got a lot of he does a lot of research on the weather and the barometric pressure, and the moons, the stars, and all of that, and most of the time he's right. Most of the time he's right. When we've been very successful. So he'll be excited to hear that you're going to be out camping out there. I'm sure that will be a fun-filled weekend.
That will be for us.
I think that will be probably a big episode right
Yeah,
there.
the weekend after, yeah. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So what else you got planned?
Nothing right now.
Really?
This weekend, going to Arkansas.
Oh, you're going to Fayetteville.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gonna go watch Arkansas Hogs, I guess. I don't know what they're
And
called.
LSU?
And LSU played a
Okay.
baseball game this weekend.
Okay.
It's this guy's birthday weekend,
Awesome. Yeah.
so that's what he wanted.
Hey, that's wonderful. So you're going to head up there and do a weekend of some baseball and see some country that you haven't seen.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's pretty. Coming from here where it's kind of flat and we call them trees here in Texas. I call them shrubs.
Gotcha.
From Michigan, that they're just there's no you can't even compare.
Correct.
So, you get up there and it's beautiful. It's beautiful country, so you'll have a good time when you get up there. Go look around, check it all out.
Well, looking forward to it.
Oh, wonderful.
What are you doing this weekend?
Well, it's Easter weekend.
Yeah.
I have a birthday coming up here. I think it's on Sunday. So, Easter Sunday is my birthday. So,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, I don't know.
So is it another trip around the sun?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I made it. I totally made it. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, here I am. So, yeah, another birthday. So I think they were asking me if I wanted to go fishing.
Oh,
So we're going to
Cedar
see.
Creek?
Yeah. I think we're going to pull the trigger and go do that.
That'd be
Maybe get
great.
a weekend because there's no baseball this
Nope.
weekend. So I think we'll probably go out and do that and see how we do with that. And we'll have something else to talk about for sure.
there we go.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, just remember one thing. We'd like you to like and subscribe and, comment if you have any suggestions. We'd
Share it
love
with
to
your
have
friends.
it. Share it. Yep. And reach out to people and let them know that we're out here to talk about anything.
Just two amateurs.
Yep. Trying to do our best.
Well, good night, Joe.
All right. You have a good night, too. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'm kind of anxious to hear the